So it's my turn to lead the way now. Welcome everybody. I'm going to do this video in English because I got a special guest, but we're going to generate subtitles maybe in Italian, or maybe we'll just translate my voice, we'll see. We have decided to do a double interview, so we just finished a session with my colleague here, and I'd like to introduce to you all a person I haven't seen for a while. We basically went to the same college for many years. Then we lost track of each other, and now here we are again. So for those of you who need a chiropractor in Spain and you're around Alicante, look up James Birdseye. Thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure, man.
James Birdseye.
Thanks so much.
He's actually English, so we'll keep this in English. And let's just start with a really simple basics. Just give me your story on a chiropractic point of view. Let's keep this chiropractic. So let's tell people who are watching this video who you are, where you come from, and where you practice.
All right. So hi everyone. I'm James. If you just don't know me, I'm from the UK. I'm from the south of the UK. When I was a kid, I used to love playing sports, particularly cricket. If you don't know what cricket is, it's a bit of a stupid game, but I really loved it and I was pretty good at it. So sport kind of led me on to enjoying biology at school. I was a pretty bad student, honestly, pretty disruptive. It's because I just didn't find school very interesting, but I did like biology, particularly human biology. And so I kind of started thinking, right, what can I do in the future that maybe mixes biology with sport, physical activity, etc., etc. First of all, actually, because I didn't really know what I was doing, I was pretty young, and you know, when you're asked like, what do you want to be when you're 15 or 16, I sort of like, I don't know, I think I want to do business. Anyway, so I did business. I trained in business studies for 4 years in the UK. And then I did that and I thought, I don't really want to work in an office. I think I want to work with people. Yep. I think I want like human interaction. So I started revisiting the idea of working more with people with physical activity, so physiotherapy, osteopathy, chiropractic. I went to go and see a McTimoney style chiropractor, and I went to go and see a more sort of conventional style chiropractor. I didn't have a clue what either of them were doing, but I thought, oh, that's really cool. Like, I really want to do that. I also had like sort of personal referrals from my mother, who'd been told after she had a car accident that she was going to need to have some surgery. Okay. She went to go and see the chiropractor and said, well, you know, that's possibly the case. But hey, do you know what? Let's do some treatment first and let's see how you do. Of course, she responded really well. There was no need for the surgery. Same thing happened with my uncle. So I kind of was steered by, you know, family reasons into chiropractic and just wanting to help people out. So that's how I got into it. I did my 5 years training. That's where we got to know each other. And then after that, it was just a case of, right, well, I need to get some experience. I started working in the south of the UK, in the London area. And then I went back down to Portsmouth, which is next to Bournemouth, where we trained at the AECC, the Anglo-European College of Chiropractic. And I had a very nice job. Big shout out to the guys down there in Portsmouth.
The name of the clinic? I don't remember.
Active Health.
There you go.
Peter and Carly, they're very, very good people. I still remember them to this day. And I'd been doing the job for about a year, and I had like quite a nice car and everything was just ticking over nicely. And then I had this moment of like, oh, I could do this easily for the next 10 years. And then I stopped myself and I was like, oh, hang on, I think I need to I need to get out there. I need to sort of get out into the world a little bit. And so I got a bit scared of the idea of like, right, this is going to be me for the next 10, 15 years. So even though I was onto a good thing there, I immediately decided, right, okay, in a year's time, I'm going to get 1 more year's experience. In a year's time, I'm going to go somewhere. And my initial thought was Spain because of...
Why Spain?
Because I grew up going on holiday there.
Okay.
My family had a villa there from a very young age.
This is not a stereotype. It's not a stereotype. The Brits go to Spain on holiday. This is not a stereotype.
This is an absolute classic stereotype. No, we had a nice villa there. We shared it there with the family of my cousins. And we just loved being there. We loved being in the sunshine. And so I've always been thinking about that anyway. At the time, I decided, well, why not maybe explore some other avenues first? I did some travel, checked out some possible work in Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia, and then I just realized that's too far away from home. Let's just go for the original plan. Let's go to Spain. So I got into Spain, and then after 2 weeks, I found some work in the clinic that I now own. I worked for a couple of others and their socios, they would say in Spanish, a group of people that kind of invested in the clinic. I bought it off them 3 years later. And then my wife, who's an osteopath, then joined the clinic in 2019, so about 5 years ago now. And that's it. I mean, and I've just been practicing chiropractic there ever since.
So you met your wife in Spain?
Yes.
When you had already moved there? Cool. So you now get to see and you can appreciate the difference between the way chiropractors work in England and the way chiropractors work in Spain.
I suppose I have some kind of there's some kind of differences, or I can reflect a little bit on both.
Okay.
In the UK, it's more organised. We've got full regulation of the profession for the good or the bad, depending on your viewpoint. I think a lot of people would argue that protection of patients is super important.
Yep.
In Italy, I know it's a little bit confusing. Spain is confusing. It's a very grey area.
Yep.
We don't have regulation of the profession. We do have an association, which is the Association for Chiropractors for Spain. And they do the best with what they can to sort of provide this library or register of chiropractors that are legitimate according to the education that they've had and according to that association. But in the end, their word is not law.
No, of course.
But we have something.
How many chiropractors are there in Spain? Do you know?
Actually, I haven't done a count. No. But we can't be too many. We must be... I'm probably going to get told off for this. Probably like between 500 and 1,000. Okay.
See, not far from Italy. Not far from Italy. See, we were discussing this last night at dinner. How do you see the whole profession moving forward for you in Spain? Because as I was telling you, like in Italy, people come to see a chiropractor because they come to see the person. People in Italy book an appointment with Joseph, and if they arrive and they see James, they're like going to be like, "Where's Joseph? I booked with Joseph." In England, it's not like that. We came out of the same college where patients were coming in to the clinic just to get adjusted. They didn't. It wasn't important who was delivering the adjustment. Do you see this in Spain? How does it work in Spain?
You bring up a really, really good point. There is a lot more awareness of chiropractic and the value that it brings in the UK. I mean, if you go talk about the United States, like they totally get it.
Oh yeah.
And if someone could be doing your first appointment, and then all other appointments could be adjustments with different people because you're going for the adjustment, right? And you're not going for Joseph, you're not going for James. Whereas I think maybe in the markets of like Italy and Spain, because there's much less awareness of what we do, people really get attached to that person, and whether it be a Joseph, James, or whoever it is. And it's a bit more tricky to just say, "Hey, I just want an adjustment." The people who do turn up and just want an adjustment, they're often there on holiday from the States.
There you go.
So it's just a completely different mindset.
I get some of those sometimes, actually. Long story short, sometimes I will get the occasional in Milan, not here, and they come in and they're like, on a time in America, it's a joke. They take 60-second adjustments, or they don't even, they, in America, they don't undress people. I don't know about Spain. I didn't actually ask you this yet. Do you undress patients?
Me personally, no.
Do they get undressed in Spain? In general, do you know?
I'm not 100% sure, but I don't...
This is a funny topic. It's a funny topic because in Italy, for the first visit, we try to associate the figure, the professional figure of a chiropractor to almost like a medical doctor without doing diagnosis and without medicines. But what we do undress people. So we get people down to their underwear for the first visit for the analysis. So when I get foreigners who come in for an adjustment and I ask them to get undressed, they're like, why? In America, I don't get undressed. It's like, okay, in Italy, we're very comfortable with our nudity, with our body, so it's totally normal. You will get, especially on YouTube, you will get these videos of these gorgeous women in their underwear. It's more of a marketing strategy to just show that part of the body, and that, you're still doing the adjustment and we're being very professional. But that's funny because I do get the occasional foreigner, and they're expecting a 60 seconds whack crack, and you just go and check them and analyze them and use different techniques. We're going to talk about techniques in a second as well. And they're like, "Whoa, nobody's ever done this to me." So it's funny to appreciate how we're all the same. We're all chiropractors, but we're all different in the way we work. So how the question, so this leads up to the question, how has it's been almost 20 years now that we're into this.
Yep.
How has your way of working changed in the past, let's say 10 years, 10, 15 years? How have you adapted your routine or the way you work? And how has it changed?
Oh, okay, that's a nice question. So I think when you first leave university and you've got your good education, you're pretty much a safe practitioner, right? You have a lot of knowledge, but not really any experience. You have some experience because we do it through the training in the college, and we do treat people one-on-one, guided by patients. By tutors. But then once you get out and you get into the real world, that initial first few months is like a very steep learning curve.
Yeah.
And you're just doing your best just to keep it together, look composed and look like you know what you're doing. And then after a couple of years, I would say, that's when I started to feel like, do you know what? I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of what's going on. Like the really steep learning had started to flatten out, and I felt like I'd got the majority of stuff within reasonable and comfortable, effective limits. And then with that, you start to sort of toy and play around with different stuff, and different people will get into different things. And we've had a similar base of training, and we've just actually adjusted each other just now. And there are actually quite a lot of similarities.
Yep.
There are certain things that are different. I suppose one of the things that I like to do is I like to keep a really open mind.
Yep.
And what that means is that I will explore different techniques. And without naming a whole bunch of different techniques, what I've started to do over time is I do much less treatment. I'm a bit more specific.
Okay.
So when I first started, I was more like, I want to adjust this, treat this, this, and this. A bit like machine gunning, like,
yeah.
And I would say with time, and maybe this is similar for a lot of chiropractors who end up with a bit more experience, you become a bit more like a sniper. No, you really want to focus on a spot, and you take the shot at that particular spot rather than, well, there's somewhere over there and I'm going to spray it. And that's how I've evolved. I've become a bit more specific, or I try to be as specific as I can be now. And also, I don't use as much force. I'm not like a super big guy anyway, but I try and do the maximum with the minimal amount of force that I possibly can. And one of the techniques that I've started to use is actually a little bit of network. So I do the classical sort of adjusting, crunching of bones, whatever you want to call it, right? I do that, and that's a real important skill set in of itself. But I've also started to use network, which is kind of a much more energetic way of communicating with the body to sort of unravel itself. And so I would suggest, more sniper, more specific, as gentle as possible, whilst getting the most results that you can.
Yeah. So you're a much better practitioner now than you were more than 10 years ago when you first started. More confident, night and day, obviously. So how would you react? I don't know if this ever happened to you, but in Italy it happens all the time. How would you react to a patient who came up to you and said, why should I come to you and pay this amount to you when the guy down the road does the same thing and charges me less? And maybe he's not a chiropractor. Maybe has it ever happened to you that you get a patient come in and they tell you, the physio down the road or the massage therapist down the road cracked my neck as well, and what's the difference? How do you tell the patients that it's not the same?
Well, first of all, I do get that a lot, because what we do as chiropractors is pretty unique. In Spain, there's a lot of physiotherapists. There are also a lot of osteopaths.
And osteopaths, my wife. We're not naming and shaming.
No, absolutely not. And a lot of those osteopaths have done like physio training before, and so the main competitors in a way would be physiotherapists. But it isn't competition really.
No, it's not.
As far as I'm concerned, it's almost like a compliment. Like you can go and see both. To answer your question, what do I say to them? They'll say, well, but I can go down the road. It's cheaper. I'm with them for an hour and you've just spent 5-10 minutes with me. And then I'll basically just explain that we just do different things. And if you want to compare me with a physio, they're so different. It's like apple and pears. You're getting something completely different here. And I understand, like if you want to spend lots of time with somebody for them to be able to do certain massage techniques, that's great. Go and see that person. That's awesome. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to focus on your spine. I'm going to look after your nervous system. educate them and say, look, this is how I work. We get really great results with this. And if you're like the majority of people who have these results, you're going to do really, really well as well. And in the end, it's just, you don't have to explain yourself too much. You just,
Fair
you just
enough.
sort of say, look, this is what I do. I'm actually pretty good at this right now.
Education.
And, you know, I'm here to help you whenever you're ready. And most people get that, no? And for the people that don't get it, that's totally cool. I'm able to say, hey, look, we know this person down the road, we think is probably going to be able to help you. So you're always serving. If you can't help them, you just say, hey, look, we know this guy who sounds like you might be a good fit for this person here. Please go and see them.
Yep. So you do refer, a good thing about working with other professionals, I don't know if you have other professionals in your own clinic or you work with other professionals around you, if you ever send people to an orthopedic surgeon or to a nutritionist, the good thing is that you can give the patient much better service by telling them, listen, this is my limit, I get to this, and if you want to fix that, you got to go to that other person. But there's a problem out there that a lot of people don't do that, don't see that, and especially in Italy, I don't know about Spain, but there's a lot of like bad mouthing and down talking on chiropractors.
Sure.
I see a lot of patients who finally decided to come see me after they've been told several times, no, don't let them touch you. You can't get adjusted if you got a hernia. You shouldn't get touched if you have this problem. If you had surgery, scoliosis, it's crazy out there. I mean, in Italy, it's far west.
I saw a really good advert on Facebook just recently. It was an advert, very short advert by a chiropractor who's based in Valencia, which is about 2 hours north of us. And it's a very, very quick video. It's a video of him quickly adjusting someone one side of the neck on the other side of the neck. And then underneath there's a text that says something along the lines of, all of your friends and family have been telling you not to go and see the chiropractor, but your problem persists. So why not give it a try?
Good.
And it's perfect.
Yeah, it is.
It's not saying, hey, we can guarantee that you're going to have great results. But like so many people say, oh, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And then you keep doing the things that they recommend. You're doing the normal, standard things. But in the end, if you're not getting well, you need to change up. And I don't know if this happens with you, but so many people that come into my practice, they're desperate. They're frustrated, and they say, I've seen X, Y, Z, I've seen this person, this person, this person, this person.
You are my final option.
Yeah, I hear it all the time, and sometimes I start smiling, and they're looking at me like funny, like, why'd you find this funny? And then I explain, look, I don't find this funny at all. I'm smiling because I hear this story so many times, but you know what the great news is that most of these people that come in with this story, most of them will respond really well to the care. Yeah. And it's that moment of like saying to them, hey, look, you're in the right place, or it's very likely you're in the right place. We're going to look after you. We're going to do the best we possibly can. We've got the skill sets and the vibe to help you to get where you want to be, get back to doing the things you want to do. And just if you can enter into that person's brain in that moment, that's part of the healing already done. You know, just letting them know, I get it, I understand. And then saying, hey, we've got a really good solution that could work really well for you. And just by just doing that, you start the whole process.
Yeah, the whole attitude, the innate, the way, even just the way you present and you talk to them.
Yeah, all right. And the way that you listen, and then they understand that you have empathy, that you actually care, you understand what's going on, and that the fact that they also know just by the way that you've got loads of experience listening to this and dealing with this problem, and they just get it. And then you just say, hey, look, you're in the right place. Let's go.
Let's do it. Fix it. Good. All right, let's steer this interview a little bit, and let's go talk about social media and technology, because obviously it's my kingdom, it's my realm. I've been doing it now for more than 5 years. Yep. And just give me an overview, because I consider you one of the top in one of the best with YouTube. I've been following your YouTube channel, and we're going to put all the details in the comments on how to check out James's YouTube. So I really like your work on YouTube. It's amazing how you do it in Spanish. You know, that's been a transition. Must have been an interesting transition for you. Yeah. So how do you see, what would you suggest to people following these videos? We talked about it before earlier in the other interview, but what do you see? What would you like to do with your social media, and how has it impacted your work and your practice?
Well, I'm going to give a brief story of why we got into it in the first place.
Yeah, how did you get into it? And
first of all, for a lot of people who know me quite well, they would be really, really surprised to know that I ever got involved in any type of social media, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, because honestly, as a consumer, I'm not much of a social media consumer. Maybe a little bit of Twitter for the news, maybe a little bit of YouTube, like my washing machine needs fixing for XYZ reason. You type that into YouTube and then there's loads of videos that tell you exactly how to fix this specific problem with your washing machine. So I like it for that use, but I'm not so much of a scroller. I'm not so much of a cat video watcher. And so, first of all, I have to say, it's kind of like fallen into my lap. It's not something that I actually searched for. The thing that really created this focus on social media was COVID.
Okay.
And of course, I think COVID changed
everyone's
the dynamic for everybody.
Yeah.
So imagine if you've got a bricks and mortar business, chiropractic business, for example. During COVID, they shut us down. And it was like, first of all, right, we're closing you for 2 weeks. And then after 2 weeks, we're going to close you for another 2 weeks. And you're thinking, well, how long is this going to go on for? So the first initial reaction is just like panic. What do we do? Like, we've just gone from treating our clients on a daily basis to zero. So we started talking, my wife and I, we were thinking, okay, what can we do? At the very least, we need to be in contact with our clients. So we called them. Hey, how you doing? Are you doing your exercise?
Nice.
And then we did that, and we're like, well, what do we do now? And she said, well, why don't we do some videos? And immediately, because I was fearful of creating video content, I was just like, are you sure? Do you not think we're going to look a bit stupid?
In Spanish.
Yeah, and it's going to be in Spanish, and my Spanish was reasonably good, but it wasn't like amazing.
So there's a Brit and a German doing videos in Spanish. Amazing.
That's right. So, and she said, well, yeah, what have we got to lose? And I was like, I'm going to feel really, really stupid. And no, but you're right. You've got nothing to lose. So we started creating some content, horrible content on a mobile phone with no lights, no microphones. Even the content itself, like my presentation, was horrible. It was so embarrassing to see these videos, but we persisted, and the clinic still closed, and we're like, all right, let's just keep going. Then we started getting a bit of a rhythm. We got an expensive computer, we got some proper lights, we got a nice camera, and we started leveling up, and we started getting, 50 views for a video, 5 views for a video, or 100 views.
You hit a few viral ones. I've seen one that have what's the top rating one?
That came. I'll come on to that in a second. So we started off just getting a few views. I mean, we were so nervous about putting the videos up. And then when we realized only like 10 people are watching, and we're like, that's better. It's not so bad. Only 10 people are watching.
That's true.
And then we kept going. And then we started getting a few more views. And then the clinic reopened, the whole COVID thing stopped. We could re-enter the workplace. And we kind of forgot about YouTube. We just thought, right, let's just focus on the clinic. Let's get the clinic up to speed. A few months later, and we'd now kind of left YouTube videos alone, all of a sudden I was getting some notification from YouTube. And I was like, one of our videos went viral. And in about the space of 2 or 3 weeks, one of our videos got to like 1 million views.
Yeah, just like that.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, you what? So I spoke to my wife and I was like, look, we've just got all of a sudden 1 million views. And she's like, wow, that's amazing. And I was like, we should really take this more seriously.
Pick it up again.
So then I got obsessed with it. But this is like great advice for anyone. If you ever want to get good at anything, become like sickly obsessed with something. And I became obsessed in the whole process of making a YouTube video. From lights to the technology to how you hook people in, how to make the content, how to make calls to action, how to everything. I just analyzed so many other like popular YouTube influencers, and then created my own structure and started creating videos on that structure, how to pick a title, how to do a thumbnail, how to do everything, all the mechanics to make like a great YouTube channel, sort of great YouTube video. And then after that, we had a few more million views, million views. And then we have one, which is now like 13 million. 13, yeah. Wow. It's about how to get rid of like your hunchback posture. So
exercise to do by yourself at home. Yeah, something to do at home. I've seen that video several times. Go back and watch it.
It's a simple video. My wife and I'm just showing 3 exercises on her, and people just for whatever reason they just go wild for it. It's still our best performing video, and we've released over 450 videos so far. And so yeah, I mean that's the story. I think we were pushed into pivoting, into taking action and moving into the digital economy, whereas before we were just pure bricks and mortar chiropractic and osteopathy, and we were forced into the digital world, which wasn't like our natural calling. And it just so happened that, up until this point, it's worked out really well for us.
And obviously you told me earlier, you started also making a little bit of money from YouTube as well. You're monetizing on your videos with advertisements. So that's another way of making extra money. But what about normal social media? Well, normal. What about Instagram and Facebook? Are you on there as well?
Yeah, so
a bit less than YouTube.
Yeah, what we did was, when we realized we were only focusing on YouTube at one point. Yeah.
Which is still, in my opinion, still the best performing social media platform. Everybody's looking at Instagram, everybody's looking at Facebook, TikTok, whatever. There's so many media rights that come out of nowhere. But YouTube is still, if you go look at the data and you like the numbers, YouTube is still the number one performing.
The great thing about YouTube is you've got people there, like me, who are looking to find out how to fix their particular thing. With a washing machine. So you've got Google, which is the biggest search engine in the world, YouTube, which is the second biggest search engine.
There you go.
So people are going there and they're specifically searching a thing. So if you make sure you've got a title and it's very, very clear about the thing you want to talk about, and it just so happens it's very popular and people want to search that thing, it's very, very powerful. So you have people going there with a higher level of intent than TikTok, where you just flick through.
Scrolling.
There's still a place for TikTok, right?
Yeah.
And ads and etc. But you have a high level of intent, and you can really create a lot of organic traffic by just creating really, really good content on YouTube. So that's YouTube. And then about sort of 18 months ago, we realized, okay, we need to have a bit more of an all-round approach. So we started regularly posting content to TikTok, to Instagram, to Facebook, mainly short videos. And we shoot one short video, and then we have them repurposed on each of the different channels. We have a social media manager who posts all that stuff for us, and then she will edit on the different channels. Because on TikTok, for example, you can have pretty much any music you want. On Instagram, you have to be careful with types of, there are certain music you can and can't use. Right. And we just leave it with her. She understands the style that we like to have, and she deals with it, she uploads it. Because you can really get like a social media burnout if you're not careful.
Oh yeah, easily.
If you try to do all this stuff and then you've got 4 kids, a clinic or 2 clinics or whatever, it can really take over your life. So we do, just to kind of diversify, but our mainstay is still YouTube. Yeah.
Gotcha. So do you still nowadays get a lot of new patients from social media and YouTube? Do you get?
Yes, we're getting, with Facebook, we're doing paid ads, and that's pretty good for generating clients coming to the clinic. Organically, it's difficult to know, but we're starting to notice more and more people that are coming in from YouTube.
Good.
Now, whenever people come in, we always ask them, hey, how did you hear about us? Because we want to know what's working, what's not working, what things should we be focusing on a bit more. And I think the thing is, it's difficult to know about that one thing that brings someone in, because it takes many touches. So maybe someone's seen you on TikTok and they go, I'm going to take him out on YouTube. And then they receive like a Facebook ad, and it's almost like they need to be touched a few times. And then finally one day, whatever it is, having a really bad day with a low back pain, and they're like, do you know what, I'm done. They see the ad, they click on it, and then they come and see you. But it may well have been having seen 10 or 15 of your YouTube videos or a number of other pieces of content. And I suppose what that means is sometimes you just need one touch with the person, and sometimes you need several touches.
Maybe they're not ready. Yeah.
And it's almost like you just need to keep on sending out good quality content. It doesn't matter what the platform is, and eventually someone's going to get it. Yeah. Or they might not have a problem now, but when they do finally get that problem that you're talking about and you seem to be an expert in, you're the first person in mind, you're front of mind. And that's what this game is all about, social media. Yeah. This is it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. It's just consistently grinding out content that you think is good, that people will like, and eventually you will start to see the effects later. So we're starting to feel that now. Good. And then I think it's just going to get bigger and bigger as time goes on.
Good. Yeah. But I think I agree with what you just said. Like persistence is the key. You know, I started as well going over and over. Before the book, I was doing my chiropractic tips on Wednesdays. I was putting out like a few minutes of few tips on how to not cross your legs, how don't sleep face down. Every Wednesday at lunchtime, I was putting out a little content and the questions box, and I was answering questions for that works a lot. So final few questions. I got a curveball for you at the end. But what would you suggest? What would you recommend for youngsters people who imagine? I mean, you own your own clinic, so you must have seen a good share of people who've come to you to work for you and with you.
Yep.
So, and you might have found good ones, you might have found bad ones, you might have fired people, you might have kept some. What would you recommend? What would you suggest to newly grads or people who just graduated as chiropractors this year or last year, and they're looking to work? What would you recommend on social media, on internet generally, and I'd like to know your particular opinion about working with someone who's already established or starting by themselves right away, because that's a very interesting topic. So what would you first? Let's start with that. Would you suggest for a newly grad to start by himself, or go and work with someone as an associate at the beginning? And then tell me about what would you suggest on social media?
Okay, I think it very much depends on the person.
Okay.
You've got one way of doing it is you can just go in and you can copy what someone else has done, and you can learn from them because they've already made a whole bunch of mistakes, and they can mentor you, and they can basically just accelerate your process of learning and learning how to do things in the right way or a more advantageous way, or you're less likely to create errors because they can say, look, I've made this error, this error, this error, this error, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And if this new grad comes in and they're smart, they're going to listen to this person who's been working for 10, 15 years or whatever, because these people have got a lot of experience. Having said that, you've got some people that have got a very strong will. They have got very much their own mind. Maybe you're like this, actually. And they just need to do it their own way. And if you're that kind of person, like you just need to do it your own way, do it your own way. Or just grim and bear it for the first year, go and work for someone else, and just bear in mind that when you work for this other person, you're not working there for the money, you're working there to learn. And just learn as much as you possibly can. Make a bunch of mistakes there, and then you can set up your own thing. But there is no right or wrong. I really don't know. I mean, for me, I was looking for a place where I could learn.
Yeah, I want to highlight these last 30 seconds and translate them in every language in the world. Please, AI, translate this last 30 seconds of what he's just said about the learning. It's very important. Yeah, because people I've been out in practice now for almost 14 years, and I've met all sort of people who went and started by themselves and just sitting in front of a phone waiting for the phone to ring. People who come down and wanted to shadow and work to learn, but they wanted the money, so they're here counting the hours, they're here helping me out, and they want the money. So, trying to say, listen, you're here to learn the experience, to not repeat.
If you're going to work for someone else, go to learn, don't earn money. Like, earn enough to live.
You need to survive and live, yeah.
But like, focus on learning. Don't focus on, but I'm worth this, I've got this. There's a lot of entitlement around, and people are getting more and more entitled. You push the ego aside. Yes, you're a chiropractor. Yes, you've studied 4 or 5 years. Yes, you have a certain knowledge base, but equally, when you just come out of university, you don't really know that much. So push everything aside. Don't think about how much you can earn now. Think about, right, what's the best thing I can do to maximize my learning, and then take it from there. And then you can start to maybe set up your own business later. I mean, there's so many different ways to do it. That's personally what I would do. But it really depends on how you want to do it. I mean, the good thing, the plus side for just setting up your own thing from the beginning is you learn how to have a business.
Exactly.
And you learn how much of a grind it is.
But they don't teach us how to manage people, though.
No.
They teach us how to be a chiropractor, but they don't teach us management. And that's what, if you start by yourself, you don't know how to manage a patient. You may know how to adjust them, but you don't know how to manage a patient.
You can force educate yourself, go and find a coach, go and find some people that do practice management. That's totally fine. But there's also some beauty of understanding the grind from day one, and knowing that new patients don't just come out of thin air. Like, you have to hustle for them, whether that be social media or whatever, going out giving health talks, whatever you need to do.
Community outreach.
Yeah, doing a great job with your clients, so then they send in their friends and family, and there's doing that from day one. It's going to be really painful, but normally when you're in a lot of pain, you're learning a lot. So that is one great form of learning. Or you just go in and just model someone who's already been there and done it. It's an easier way to do it, and then you can go and set up your own thing.
Really good material. Final curveball, seriously a curveball, because you just twisted my head yesterday when we were talking about it, without being specific. You're a chiropractor. I doubt you want to go on adjusting patients until you're 90, or until you're in a pension. So let's talk about side jobs and differentiating your incomes, getting money in other ways. Yes, no, what would you suggest people to do? If you want to be specific, we can be specific, because we spoke about cryptocurrencies, we spoke about investments, we spoke about entrepreneuring.
I think that you have to go step by step.
Yeah?
You have to go, first of all, you want to make sure you've got a solid skill set. Get some experience. That would be my first thing. Second of all, you don't have to set up your own business, by the way. Exactly. You can just go in and earn a percentage, and that's totally cool, right? So either you're going to go that route, or if you're going to go for the business, learn how to do business. It takes a long time. You're going to make loads of errors. Go for the business. Once you start creating some regular cash flow, whether it be for having your own business, or whether it be working for someone else, then you need to start considering, like, what do I want to do with this money? And I would probably advise, don't just go out and get like a flash car. I would suggest, I'm not like a money guru, but I would suggest go and buy certain assets, maybe cash flow assets, whether it be houses, it could be a cryptocurrency. Choose your poison, whatever it is you like.
Choose your poison.
And start building wealth that way. And then when you reach a certain level of wealth, and maybe you can take a bit of money out, then get yourself a flash car, but don't just like spend it all in one go. One thing that you can do with social media or any kind of digital presence is that it gives you so much opportunity. When you've got a chiropractic practice, your bricks and mortar, you can see a certain number of people per day in a given week. And that's your limit. Now, that can still provide you with a very nice and healthy lifestyle. But let's say another COVID arrived, God forbid, but let's just imagine it did, and then you have to close the practice for another 8 weeks. That's not great for the business owner, and it's not very good for anybody who's working as a chiropractor. So what have you got then? You might want to be proactive. If you're involved in social media, for example, you might want to start doing affiliate commissions. Let's say you're doing a bunch of short videos that you're going to put on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, just talking about the benefits of vitamin D or glucosamine, X, Y, Z, and then you could perhaps leave a link saying, hey, these are the supplements that I take at home. If you're interested, please click on the link. And then when they click on the link, they're going to put in a code, and you're going to get an affiliate commission, and they receive a product that you use at home. And so this is like an ethical way of making some side hustle, some side income, and whilst providing a better service to your clients. So I would suggest diversifying is a smart move, particularly this day and age. I think COVID changed a lot of things. Yeah. It made us realize like we can be shut down. And so I think it's important to have something in your back pocket that runs without the requirement to have the clinic operational. And something digital would be a smart move, whether it is you want to use social media. You could just write a really nice blog. You could
write a book.
Could write a book.
Podcast.
No, and whatever you want to do, we've all got this ability to communicate, whether it be verbally or written or via audio. We all have an ability to communicate and get our message across. And if you're going to do that, then why not monetize it in an ethical way?
Fantastic material. I think we covered almost everything. Before we let you go, don't forget to click and subscribe to the links of Dr. Birdseye, myself, activate the bells for notifications, follow anything, drop us a comment if you got questions. Pretty sure Dr. Birdseye here as well answers his comments, and reach out to him on YouTube, Instagram, anywhere. And yeah, thank you for watching, and thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Nice to see you.